Hi, and welcome to the first Upcycle Your Waste podcast for Norwich BID. The Norwich BID Upcycle Your Waste project aims to give businesses in Greater Norwich the opportunity to save money on their waste disposal costs and increase their sustainability credentials. The Upcycle team is looking to work with SMEs to identify waste streams that other people may be able to upcycle to produce something of equal or greater value. So this is not just recycling. Upcycling is about creating something of equal or greater value. The SMEs taking part, if you want to contact the BID, you won't actually have to come up with an idea for what to use your waste for. You won't actually have to do the upcycling. It's about showing that you're willing to have the Upcycle team effectively come and stick their head in your bin to see what might be able to be aggregated and sold on or given on to other producers to use and upcycle. So the aim is to reduce waste and support the development of a circular economy in the Greater Norwich area and the wider community. So today, I'm delighted to say we have Joe Hill as our first guest on this podcast. Joe is the marketing director, I believe, at One Planet Pizza, which was founded in 2016 and is the UK's first plant-based frozen pizza company. And it's pizza with a purpose. It aims to create delicious, healthy, sustainable, plant-based pizzas, very much for the vegan market, people who are interested in their health, but also in the environment. And they now, I believe, produce something like 500 frozen pizzas a day in Norwich. And it's a community-owned company, I understand. I think it was all crowdfunded to start with. So very pleased to have Joe on. Now, my understanding is that Joe is in the early stages of this sort of journey. So they are currently doing quite a bit of work around recycling rather than upcycling.
So myself and my dad, Mike, we were both vegan, very health conscious, and back in 2016, we realised that the vegan food sector was booming, and we noticed a growing gap in the market for decent, delicious, high quality frozen vegan pizzas.
Our focus today, I think, is going to be on your sort of ethical stance and how, in particular, you're looking at improving your green credentials, your sustainability by looking at the recycling, how you deal with your waste. So can you give me an idea what your policy is, first of all, on raw materials coming in, and then what's your policy on recycling?
Yeah, so this was, like you say, ethics has been at the core of our brand rather than an afterthought. It's been there right from the start. We've wanted to build a business around being ethical and sustainable and plant-based, because they all not to go down the chilled pizza route, which we know has a much higher percentage of food waste. And one of the main reasons is that your food waste almost goes down to 0%. It's a very low amount of food waste. We've got 2 walk-in fridges in, so pretty much all of our ingredients are bespoke bases, which are created with a co-producer based in the southwest of England using our recipe. They come in frozen and we store them and draw down when we need them.
How much of that is sustainably sourced and sustainably dealt with at the end of life?
Okay, so in terms of all of the packaging that comes in and out of our site, I would say about 75% of it is standard cardboard boxes. That's from the ingredients bases to our outer boxes, to our pizza boxes. And so this is one of the big things that we started looking at as we went down the route of getting everything frozen. We were getting a huge amount of recycling, and we know the recycling system isn't half as good as it should be. And there's a massive percentage of recycled material in the UK that doesn't actually get recycled for whatever reason. And it's an end of life process. For us, it wasn't quite good enough. So we had a good think internally, and we decided that we would invest in a commercial card shredder. So it's like a giant paper shredder that sits in the back of our unit. Wow. And now on as part of a daily shift, one of the members of staff will take all of the cardboard waste that we've got from the day, and they will shred it, put it in large boxes, and then we use this shredded card waste to insulate all of our direct-to-consumer boxes that go out. One of the other things we do with our small percentage of food waste we get, whether it's slightly broken bags of cheese or discontinued products from a flavour we no longer make, if there are olives left over and we don't have any use for them, then we're connected with the local food bank for the homeless. We just stay in regular contact with the team at the homeless centre, and I think they're called the Norwich Soup Movement. That's the one. And we, every now and again, just drop off the frozen surplus food we have, and they use that to make meals for the homeless.
Your commitment to this is essentially, it was personal, but also it met a very specific business need that you had identified. You saw there was a consumer demand for this product, so that there's a business benefit both in the way you approach your sourcing of ingredients, the way you create the actual recipes, and the way you deal with the waste. That there are business benefits, both financial, because presumably you're not paying to have, say, the cardboard taken away, but also benefits the brand, and it enhances what's already there as the essential part of your brand as an ethical, sustainable business. This just reinforces that. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we say quite a lot that there are so the big brands out there, the Goodfellas, the ZZs of the world, are ultimately our big competition. Luckily, they're not venturing too much into the vegan pizza world at the moment, but it's only a matter of time. And ZZs have just launched a couple of options into a Sainsbury's, and we're starting to see these other competitor brands appear. And one of the issues for us moving forwards as a small, ethical, family-run business is that we're not going to beat these guys on price for a long, long time, just because of the enormous volumes and as such the margins they can command as huge global brands. We're not going to beat them on delivery costs, things like that, where they just will always be able to undercut us. But what we can beat them on is our eco credentials. We think we can really raise the bar and really shout from the rooftops about what makes us special. And if the customer's willing to pay a little bit more for our pizzas, this is what they're going to get as a benefit. They're going to help us tackle climate change, perhaps more so than these bigger brands who are more focused on profitability. We're more about purpose over profit, if you like. And I guess trying to put myself in other businesses' shoes, it would be, is this going to cost money as well as time, and is it really going to be worth it? I guess the difference for us is that we started off that way. So it was never an afterthought or a plug-in to the business, or a way to an afterthought to boost our eco credentials. It was something that we started as a very sustainable brand. So it's always been at the front of everything we do, and driving us forwards, and is one of our USPs. But I guess for a lot of businesses who have been operating for longer, more traditional routes to market, they may see it as something that they have to do to keep up with other brands, but is it just going to be a hassle? So perhaps time and money and not knowing what options they have.
We will come along, we will look at your waste, and we will then go away and we'll be looking at a lot of businesses' waste, and we'll be looking at all the different types of waste stream. And the idea is that this team will act as an aggregator and an idea generator, and that you as a small business, you don't have to put in that time and effort. You just have to make available and say, look, here's the pile of waste. What can you do with it? And it's up to this team to then look around and say, well, look, we've got X number of businesses all producing the same type of waste. That gives us a really big pile. but it's very specific. And now we go out and we find someone who can really make use of this and not just recycle it, but upcycle it by adding, by turning it into something of equal or greater value. And I think that's the big push here, is the equal or greater value.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. Exactly. It breaks down those two barriers, doesn't it? The time and the money. If a team comes in, much like this project, and does the work and looks at the bins and comes up with some ideas, then it would be crazy to say no, and we would support that as much as we could.